What's one thing that Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, Hermes, Krishna, Lao Tzu, and Buddha all have in common? They embraced being alone because, in solitude, they could hear God. Now, have you ever felt alone on your spiritual journey of elevation? That feeling of having no one to truly turn to, of being the only person in the world who remotely understands your perspective. It's an isolating experience. There's often no one to whom you can fully express how you see the world or bounce ideas off without judgment. Here's the truth. Being the black sheep means you're meant to stand apart. Society often portrays solitude as a sign of failure or inadequacy. But for those who are spiritually awakened, solitude is the path to transformation. It's akin to a caterpillar retreating into its cocoon before becoming a butterfly. Solitude provides the ideal conditions for growth and elevation. Blaise Pascal captured this sentiment powerfully when he said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." This quote reveals an uncomfortable truth. Many avoid solitude because it confronts them with their innermost selves. From childhood, we associate being alone with rejection or negativity. That inner child, still desperate for connection and belonging, drives us to seek others' company. But spiritual awakening shifts this dynamic. As we awaken, the familiar world starts to feel alien. Crowded spaces, shallow conversations, and repetitive routines become draining. It's not that you've turned antisocial, it's that your soul craves depth and meaning. Solitude becomes the sacred space for transformation. It's where you reconnect with your true self, free from societal noise and the expectations of others. In this stillness, your inner voice grows clearer, healing begins, and profound self-discovery unfolds. But there's another layer, the persona, the social mask we all wear. Almost every interaction in society requires us to present this mask. However, beneath that mask lies the essence of who we truly are, a reflection of the divine. To uncover the truth of our being, we must peel away the mask. And the only time the mask fully comes off is when we're alone. In solitude, we detach from the ego and align with the divine. This process allows us to see ourselves not as isolated beings, but as integral parts of a greater whole. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's a gift, a step toward transformation, understanding, and awakening. Truth be told, the only time the mask truly comes off is when you are alone. Once we fully remove the mask, we can detach from the ego and integrate into the divine. In a way, spending time with others means your mask is on, meaning you're not operating from your true self, but from an artificial self, the ego. It's like how the most miserable people are often those who constantly need to be around others. I genuinely feel bad for them. Believe it or not, most people are terrified of being alone. I've always been perceptive of this in others. I could see how some people couldn't stand solitude. This made me think, I don't want to live like that. Being alone is such a punishment that even in prison where the entire environment is already a punishment, solitary confinement is used as an additional penalty. Why? Because the average person, when left alone with their own mind, will go mad. An indisputable truth is that being alone is the ultimate form of bravery. When you enjoy your own company, you gain access to a powerful realization. Solitude is a superpower. It's in those moments of solitude that you can truly hear God. Carl Jung once said, "The highest form of a human being is to be in solitude with him or herself." When you're alone, the social mask comes off, and you become your authentic self. It's within this authenticity that the greatest spiritual capabilities exist. When you wake up to this reality, you begin to see the world differently. This awakening often makes it difficult to feel fully comfortable around others because you realize the role of solitude in personal growth. It almost feels as though a divine force intentionally guides you toward being alone. providing the clarity and elevated perspective necessary to align yourself with God's purpose. Different frequencies equal different languages, which equal different worlds. Yes, I self-quoted. Being alone presents an incredible opportunity for growth, as solitude serves as an incubation period for self-development. A crucial part of this growth is self-contemplation, which often involves confronting the aspects of yourself that you've repressed, whether to avoid pain or because society deems them undesirable. Often, when you're alone, your demons surface. This is not a bad thing. It's not about fighting them. I don't believe you should fight your demons. Instead, you should talk to them not in a supernatural or witchcraft sense, but in a way that allows you to understand the parts of yourself you've categorized as demons. Through understanding and conversation, you can rise above them and elevate yourself. Being alone can become almost addictive because it reduces your need for societal approval. This detachment is powerful. It allows you to break free from groupthink and cultivate intellectual independence. In doing so, you can access higher levels of reality, including the ability to attract wealth and other aspects of success. When you become comfortable with solitude, you begin to notice how disconnected others often are from themselves. It becomes apparent who struggles with being alone, which reflects their level of self-awareness and willingness to engage in internal growth. In states of solitude, you are enveloped by silence. This silence is transformative, as it opens the door to serenity and inner calm. Simultaneously, silence becomes the gateway to reality and to God, for creation itself begins in silence. If you wish to reconstruct your mind and align with a particular reality, you must first venture into the silence, the inner dimension, because that is where the gateway to God lies. Being alone grants you the opportunity for profound self-reflection and introspection, allowing you to reorganize and rebuild the bricks of your mind. If you wish to reconstruct your mind and align with a particular reality, you must first venture into the silence, the inner dimension, because that is where the gateway to God lies. Being alone grants you the opportunity for profound self-reflection and introspection, allowing you to reorganize and rebuild the bricks of your mind. To shift into a desired reality, you must attune yourself to its frequency. This frequency is nothing more than a combination of thought patterns and emotional energy. To achieve this, you must become the architect of your own mind. And to do so, you must build and refine your inner domains, brick by brick, until your thoughts, emotions, and intentions align with the reality you seek to manifest. Eventually, what you cultivate within yourself will be reflected in the outer world. This raises an important question. How can you truly know yourself if you can't embrace being alone? Profound, isn't it? The universe often isolates us deliberately, granting full control over our consciousness to shape it according to our true desires. And for that, you should be grateful. This spiritual journey of elevation often places you in solitude, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity to grow. I always say, consciousness is contagious. When you are alone, you have the ideal conditions to mold your consciousness exactly as you wish. By applying the mirror principle, something I'll discuss in a future video, you'll see that your inner reality is ultimately reflected in your outer experiences. As my mentor Nero beautifully stated, as within, so without. At the beginning of this discussion, I mentioned that all spiritual masters, Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, Lao Tzu, Hermes embrace solitude. Why? Because in silence, you can truly hear God. I often tell people who ask about the point of meditation, prayer is talking to God, but meditation is listening to God. Too often, we talk far more than we listen. So, here's your first step in mastering the art of being alone. Shift your perspective. Don't see solitude as something negative. Instead, view it as the most positive process of becoming your ideal self. The universe operates from a higher vantage point, beyond your ego, which often just craves external approval. The discomfort with being alone often stems from childhood experiences, where isolation felt like rejection. Recognizing this can help you reframe solitude as a powerful tool for transformation. The force that isolates you, whether it's God, the higher self, or the universe, whatever your ego chooses to call it, has a perspective far beyond your own. It knows what you need for internal growth, which will ultimately lead to external growth. The first step is to practice sitting alone in daily silence. The duration is up to you, but don't make it too easy. Don't be foolish by setting the timer for just 5 seconds and thinking you've accomplished it. Challenge yourself. Become the master of yourself, because until you have mastery over your own being, you won't be able to master reality. If you can't control yourself, you won't control your reality. So, practice sitting in silence and get comfortable with it. Silence is where creation begins. It's the space where you access your inner dimension. Consider this. When people pray, they close their eyes, seeking the peaceful realm of God, a place that requires stillness. I'll leave you with this thought. The silent mind hears God the loudest. Thank you for watching.